Hey, so I'm gonna do a bag change, and I kind of wanted to show like my little setup here that I have. This is hanging on the back of my door, and it has little pockets, and I just fill up a few supplies at a time like this, and then it's just really easy to grab what I need. And I have changed a few things that I do about my routine based off just what works for me. And I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible while also talking you through it. I have to admit, they don't give you enough of these bags. I think most of the products that I use are Coloplast. I have now been able to keep my bag on for like 4 or 5 days before I just change it. And I want to say to all the companies that make adhesive removers, I have yet to find one that I like. I've tried this spray, which is kind of my go-to in the end. I've tried Adapt, Hollister, All Care, Coloplast, and I don't really like any of the adhesive removers because there's like some downfall to all of them, whether that's the wipe itself is, the size of your thumb, or that there's really just not enough fluid inside of it. It seems like there's always something that I don't like about a particular one. Because this stuff is really sticky. I mean, it's made to stay on really well, and anyway, so I've had to start using a CONVEX barrier, and it's really big and bulky, but it stays on really nice. I would like to try, this one has the yellow dot on it. I don't know how well you can see the little yellow dot right there. I'd like to try the one that's a little bit smaller that fits this bag versus this one. You see the difference there? But the one that fits this bag is like significantly smaller. And it seems like people that have I don't know, maybe people that have a convex stoma have smaller stomas. So I'm shaping half of a paste strip, whatever they're called. And I'm shaping it so that it's flat and that the sides are more pointed. And I've kind of stopped using the paste that comes in the tube because it's not as strong, I guess. So now that I have it the shape I want, I'm going to stretch it out so that it fits around my wafer. Apparently it's really small. I'm getting all of this prepared before I take off my bag. My stoma is actually really quiet during the day, and it's like at night and in the mornings it's more active. And I don't mind. Everybody ends up getting used to it, I guess. I'm grabbing a couple of skin barrier wipes, and I like the ones by Coloplast because they're a little bigger. And I also have been using, lately I've been using their little protective sheets, just because it actually makes my bag stay on longer, as well as for some reason my skin just absolutely hates adhesive. And I have little washcloths rolled up, planed and rolled up in here. I use a really mild detergent to wash these because I'm so paranoid about that being like an irritation in these, and I also rinse them off really well before I use them. So it might be a little noisy, but I'm going to run the water to warm it up. I get a nice little stack of gauze. I probably won't use all of this, but it's good to go ahead and have it ready. I know in one of my last videos where I did a bag change, I was having an issue with it kind of leaking while I was changing it, and I just learned this deal with it with the gauze. That warmed up really fast. We're upstairs, so it's going to take a minute. Make sure I got everything. It's a lot easier to make sure you got everything when you have it lined up like this. Just say, got it, got it, got it, got it. Yeah, I have it. I'm just going to rinse this off. It's always good to have the rag and then like a dish towel so that you can have something that keeps your hands dry, especially once you start to deal with the wafer after you take the bag off. Okay, so this is the Coloplast adhesive remover wipe. It's big, which is nice, a nice change of pace for adhesive remover wipes, but it's almost kind of dry. And I think the one thing that causes the most irritation with your wafer and everything is actually removing the bag, because you end up pulling at your skin, you're tugging. I try really hard not to do any tugging and just let the remover wipe kind of do the work for me. And especially if you're using these U-shaped around the wafer barriers, I can't remember what they're called, but they are extremely sticky, and especially if they absorb any moisture, they become almost more sticky. So it's very difficult to remove. I'd really like to see some company come up with something that's more practical. So as you can see, this is all I've been able to pull off with the one wipe. I'm just gonna slowly work at it. This is one of the things that takes the longest amount of time if you're doing it right. You could be evil and just rip it off of yourself. So at this point, what I'm going to do is use the spray. I'm going to open up another wipe before I do this. But what I'm going to do is take the spray and just kind of hit the top, and the liquid will puddle up and it will seep down, and I can start to work it downward. You can see it really helps to disconnect it. It unfortunately got between the wafer and that skin protective sheet, and it's pulling the wafer off of that. I swear I have the worst skin issues with these things. Oh, God. We're like 3 months in, I still have like really bad skin issues. And yes, I've tried different wafers, but you know, trying really hard not to let that tug. Can you see that whenever I hit it with the spray, it really peels off a lot better. And I'm really just avoiding touching the stoma. Now just hit the edges where the adhesive is really built up. Use gauze, clean it up. Now I'm using warm water and starting from the edges I'm just going to scrub it up. Just water. It's still extremely irritated right here. So using the convex wafer actually creates a interesting little dilemma, because only the bottom half of my stoma is convex, and then it's almost like the wafer is a little too firm, and it creates like air pockets underneath it, which is almost kind of hard to describe. But the air pockets are where I end up with skin irritation, and I'm not sure how to deal with that. So if anybody has a suggestion for it, let me know, because it seems to be, ow, that's really irritating. Seems to be the root cause of my problem. Oh, it's right there. I'm scrubbing that a little too hard, I guess. That doesn't feel good. Trying to get the... So one problem I have is that I actually trimmed up the back of my hair not that long ago. I had taken my shirt off to do it because I don't want hair all over my shirt, and it got hair all over the outside of my wafer, and I have been like picking hair off of it ever since. And now I'm going to take these gauze and fold it in half and do a little volcano around it. And coax it to stay there. So I'm going to take that off and do like a pat dry. I'm not even sure if I want to use the skin protective thing this time, because it's actually more irritated this time than it was last time, which is why I used it. What to do? Anyway, I'll be using the antifungal powder. I still hate powders. Get on there. Alright. Give it a shake. I really have no answer for what to do. Oop, crapola. Just trying to hit those spots. And again, I'm not going to dust this off yet, because the little red spots will kind of like seep out whatever's there. And it'll make it stick a lot better. It will stick to what it needs to stick to. I have the stoma powder. Let's see if I can get that focus. I don't like using the stoma powder, simply because if it gets on your floor, like as you saw, it kind of just got everywhere. If the stoma powder gets on your floor or on your counters or anything like that, it's for some reason like kind of gelatinous, and it creates stickiness that's really bizarre that I don't like to deal with. Okay, so now I'm going to deal with this thing. Just pop it off, and then by holding the I don't know what this part's called, but hold on to that and take your fingers and again just gently run it inward. Then you can take your skin strip And since mine's convex on the bottom, I will start this at the top so that there's a solid seal at the bottom. This. And then I'm just going to press it on there nice and firm. And just using this, I haven't had a leak yet. Using it like this. And it lasts a good amount of time. Nothing gets up underneath it. It's a nice thick paste. So I guess I forgot to free up memory on my camera here. Anyway, so now I'm going to start from the outside and just pat all of this. And to you, it may appear as though I'm like dusting off pretty much everything, but I'm not. You'd be surprised. There's still a lot of it left. So we have a choice in skin barrier wipes, where you can have one skin barrier wipe that is the world's stickiest substance, and it's weird and peels, and it's a mess. It's the one by this one. These are really good if you don't mind the horrible mess that they create, because if you go outside of where your skin barrier is supposed to be, it's really, really sticky. It's like impossible to get off. It works really well as a skin barrier wipe. I just can't deal with, like, it's constantly sticky. I can't get off my hands. And then there's this one, and again, there's not like a lot of fluid on these Coloplast ones, but they don't create that horrible, horrible mess. So just, again, starting from the outside. This one dry, and I'll do it again. These actually dry really quickly, which I appreciate. For the finishing moves. Because of the way my skin looks right now, I think I'm actually going to pass on using this. It didn't look this bad the last time I took this thing off, so I'm not sure what happened, but I'm going to pass on using this time. See what happens. It's always a trial and error with your stoma anyway. So with the convexity, or the convex wafer, as you can see, it's raised up like this. And because of that, air, my skin is still flat like that. And air is going to get stuck between that spot if I don't kind of like roll my skin into this as I put it up. So you'll see me try to do that. It makes it really tricky. Let's see, why don't you do anything? So we'll kind of see what's supposed to sit. see that it really pushes out. I'll show you. It really pushes out my stoma quite a bit to do the convex. You see how much more it's protruding out, especially here where I have the convex issue. And I'm just going to sit here and kind of press into it. I'm going to use both hands to do this. I just wanted to show you the difference there. So I'm starting from the inside and just mushing that paste. I know a lot of people have suggested using a hairdryer. So normally I do. Don't worry, he's fine in there. He likes my closet. The problem is I don't want to like blow directly on my stoma. I don't know if that's okay. And if I put the bag on and then use it, the heat melts the inside of the bag. So I wanted to just try using a piece of gauze and covering up my stoma. I don't know, some, you know. Okay, now you're gonna cause problems in here, bud. Anyway, let's see what happens. Look, the worst configuration on a hairdryer ever. I wish I remember what it is. Let's see. So with any luck, I didn't just slow cook my stoma. The irrational fears of an ostomate. Right. And normally, I put these things on around the wafer. Funny thing is, these don't fit on the yellow. Remember I explained the size difference between the one I use and this. So these little things fit on the red dot wafers, like that. They don't fit on the yellow ones. I don't know if they make bigger ones, but I'll have to find out. I've been putting them on there anyway, but I'm going to see what happens if I don't, because they're horrible to get off. That's a little weird. There's a little blood. And again, in one of my old videos, I explained how I put my bag on a little bit sideways. So I like to stand back in the mirror and kind of figure out where I want it to face, which will be about right here. Because again, if you put it on straight up and down, when you go to empty it out, you pull it to the side like this. If you're doing it the way I do, which is like I sit all the way back on the toilet and pull it between my legs and empty it out. So if it's straight up and down, you have to pull it to the side, and it makes it really hard to clean out. And if you put it too much at an angle like this, then when it starts to fill up, gravity will start to pull the bag and it'll crinkle up. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot. And I'm going to say about right here. And then what I do is kind of look back and double check before you put it on. This one's not the click system. I don't know if you just noticed. It is not the click system. It's sticky. And I thought, there's no way that's going to hold up. But it does just fine. Make sure it's nice and stuck on there. And I also figured out how you're actually supposed to use this stuff, which is the lubricating deodorant. And before I would like pour it way down into my bag and mush it around, and I was like, this stuff is stupid. What is the point of it? But then I figured out if I put it just on the lip of the bag, you don't need a lot, just a tiny little bit. Put it on the lip of the bag, and then get your air out. And then what will happen is when you go to empty this out, it's actually lubricated the lip of it, and it'll be really easy to clean up. I'm not sure if it deodorizes anything. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with this, but it's weird. Anyway, that's it. Easy peasy.